Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first webinar for Populist. We are super excited to have everyone here. We're going to give folks another moment just to get started and hop in. In the meantime, I'm going to post a poll, which just asks a quick question so we can get to know everybody better. And so if you can go ahead and just answer the poll that you'll see on your screen, that would be exciting. And then we'll get started in just a moment. All right, we are going to get started in just a second. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined. We're super excited to chat with you today. Just before I close this poll, if everyone could just give it a quick click just so we know sort of what the audience is made up of so we can make sure we're answering all the right questions. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And we can get started. So hello, welcome everyone. Before we jump in to do introductions, which we'll just do in a second, we want to make sure we can hear from you. So in your chat, you can see on your screen, hopefully you have a chat box, and you can use that throughout the webinar today to ask any questions that we'll get to. We'll make sure we get to all your questions at the end. But just to kick us off, if you want to just share where you're calling from, it'll be nice to just share out where our audience is coming in from. So let's see. Go ahead and add it to the chat and we can share out. Okay, we have some folks bright and early from California. It's the morning time. Thank you for waking up and joining us on Friday. Amazing, Southern California, great. Awesome, New York. Very cool. Chicago. Amsterdam, we're international. This is so exciting. Amazing, welcome and thank you. It's sometime, I think, later in the afternoon for you. Okay, awesome. So cool. Okay, Maine. Awesome. Well, you can keep adding and we'll call out as we get more folks joining. And again, use the chat to ask any questions that we can make sure to answer for you. But I'm going to kick it off to Sarah to get us started, and we'll get going.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. You guys can hear me? Emily and Kim, I'm good. Okay, cool. Thank you to everybody for logging in with us this morning or afternoon, wherever you're dialed in from. We are so excited. This is our first webinar series in the Friday ritual we're going to be doing throughout the rest of the year. So I'm Sarah, founder of Populist, and we decided to call the webinar series Solicited Advice for a few reasons. One, I think when you are expecting a baby, however you're bringing a baby into this world, the one thing we all get is unsolicited advice, for better or for worse. And I think that's like the one thing we can all agree on. And I'm not sure if that ever ends when your baby is earthside, etc. So we are calling this series Solicited Advice because we have gathered experts from pediatric ENTs to someone like Kim, who's the founder of Billy, which she'll tell you all about, to lactation consultants, doulas, etc., Montessori experts, because we're going to try to gather these experts and to deliver the advice we actually need and want, and be able to digest it and easily apply it to our life. So thank you again for being here for our very first series. And like I said, I'm Sarah, the founder of Populist, a simplified baby registry platform for expecting parents. And we'll dive into what makes us different a little bit later. But I'd love to hand it over and introduce our very first special guest and friend of mine, Kim.
Hey everyone, so happy to be here. I'm really excited about this conversation. My name is Kim Jolasun, or Kimberly, but Kim is fine. And I am the founder of Villy, and our mission is to get expecting and new parents more of what you need. And we want to get you more of those things from your loved ones. So we get really creative on how we can engage your loved ones, keep them up to date throughout the pregnancy and even after the baby arrives, and being very transparent and getting them to really help out, because it takes a village, hence the name Villy. Right now we're well known for our game, which is the gender reveal game, and it's a game that helps expecting parents raise money by having people guess the baby's gender with cash. So it's just another fun way to get more things early on in the pregnancy, right? So you don't have to wait till the baby shower to start getting that help in from your loved ones who really want to help. And then we just launched Villages, which is a platform where you can essentially host a private baby page, a private baby website, where your loved ones could stay in touch. They could subscribe to it. They'll get alerted when you update a photo or anything, so that they could stay in the loop. And in that very page, they could also purchase from your registry. They can give funds to a diaper fund or a food fund or a health fund, or purchase things for you, right? So we just launched that, and we'll talk more about that. But before I pass it on to Emily, we actually do have a surprise for all the attendees from Villy. So a little later, Villy is going to pick one person with a Populist and purchase something off of your registry to support you. So if you don't have a Populist, wait till after this call so you can pay attention, and then create a Populist. And then we'll randomly select one of you guys to get a free gift from us. And we want to make sure it's something you need, so we're getting it off of your registry, right? And that's all I have. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so put your registry, if you have your registry URL available, put it in the chat. That way we can select one, and like Kim said, help support you with her company purchasing it off to your registry. So, all right, Emily?
And hi, I'm Emily. I'm the head of content at Populist, and I have 2 little kids, and this is an amazing platform and company to work for and with to support parents. So we're going to hop in today. We're talking all things registries and registry decisions and registry, tips and tricks and sort of some hopefully game-changing suggestions from Sarah and Kim for how to select items and what to put on your baby registry as you welcome your child. So we're going to talk about some things. The first question we're going to dive into, and again, if I haven't said it 94 times, put your questions in the chat so that we can gather and make sure we hear from you as well, because we want this to be interactive. But for Sarah and Kim, what would you say is the one piece of registry advice that you give to your friends, which I'm sure you get asked all the time? What is the one piece that you share with your friends that's helpful for them?
Go ahead, Kim.
So this one, I don't think it's controversial, but I do tell my friends this, especially because I'm a second-time mom, right? So I have 2 babies. I tell all my friends and everyone who would listen to please include things for you on your registry, and things that you need that just will make life just a little bit easier, right? That first couple of weeks, first couple of months, maybe the first year or 2 is really hard for us. And so just little delights. So one example I put on my registry was a new coffee machine, because I've had the same coffee machine since college. It was on its last legs. And that early sip of coffee at 6 o'clock in the morning when you've been up pumping for the last like 3 hours is just made my day just a little bit nicer. So I put a new coffee machine, and that was the first thing to be purchased, because again, I think we underestimate that our friends and family want to be there for us. So remember that they want to be there for baby, and baby is important, but they don't know baby yet, but they've known you for years and they want to help you. So that's one piece of advice I always tell everyone, even if it's one thing, but what do you really need, and add that to your registry.
Cool. Great suggestion, Kim. I think the one thing that I always give my friends and family is put a gift card on your registry to a secondhand store. There's two like world-class ones that come to mind. There's Good Buy Gear, and then there's Rebel Stork. So if you add a $100, $200 gift card to your registry from one of those secondhand stores, in theory, someone's gonna buy it for you, and then you can use that gift card. You're likely going to end up buying some gifts for yourself, the ones that weren't purchased. So if you have a gift card to a really like world-class secondhand store, you can use that gift card to go purchase those items at a lower cost. And some of these items are open box, but they've actually never been used. So the two I love is Rebel Stork and Good Buy Gear. So add that to your registry, and then now you can go buy yourself the things that you still need at a more affordable price. Emily, what about you? You asked the question, but do you have a piece of advice?
It's like a really random one. I also just put those links to those two sites you mentioned in the chat, Clara, so folks can add. I would say registry advice, don't add clothes. Don't go nuts adding baby clothes. I think like when someone comes to your house, they bring a little onesie or they bring clothes. Like it's stuff that you'll get anyway. A lot of folks do hand-me-downs or like sharing clothes. They grow out of them so quickly. And I would say don't go nuts adding baby clothes, because people will buy them and then they'll leave off the things that you actually then have to go purchase yourself. So baby clothes are so fun to buy for yourself or receive from friends and family when they come visit, but I wouldn't go nuts on the registry with baby clothes.
Smart. Yeah. Touche. Okay, so I'm next in the lineup for asking my friends questions. So Kim and Emily, what is one unconventional thing that you recommend people put on their registries, or one that you put on yours?
So one thing that I started to buy my friends, that I always get them something off their registry, but then I always do a second one that I know they didn't know any better to put on their registry, is the iCloud gift card, or an Apple gift card, because especially when it's your first time, I ran out of like 10 gigs of space in the first week, because every hour I was taking pictures of this baby sleeping, pooping, yawning, his first smile, his first cough, so I ran out of space so quickly, and deleting photos to make space was like so painful. So I just end up giving all my money to Apple. So what I do now is I purchase a gift from the registry, but then one thing that I start recommending folks do is put a gift card on there to the Apple store or wherever you plan to store your memories. And that is a great way to a good like unconventional gift. And now pretty soon you can store all of those photos and memories also on your Villi. So
perfect.
I would say this is a tiny one, but a really long phone charger for like plugging in while you're breastfeeding and you're like reaching across, or you have like a sleeping baby on you. I think they sell like 10-foot long phone chargers. Get like 7.
And take it with you to the hospital if you're delivering in the hospital.
For sure. For sure.
Add that to your hospital bag checklist.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to answer my own question. Yeah. Is that okay? Because I have like 2. So unconventional items, a Polaroid camera, which is like a little unusual, but especially the first time around, I was a little bit more adamant on like lowering screen time. I didn't want like my phone in my baby's face. Like the second time around, you're basically like in survival mode. Not that you aren't the first time around, but things are just a little bit different. But a Polaroid camera is really fun, because if you are trying to limit screen time, just being able to like take pictures and have them printed out right then and there is just like a really fun keepsake. So a Polaroid camera is a fun registry item, and then a handheld or a cordless vacuum. You will thank your future self when you start introducing foods and they end up all over the floor from your 6 month old and beyond, and just being able to easily clean up your floor without having to like plug something in is a great option. So those are my 2 unconventional registry suggestions.
Smart.
Cool. Okay. So as we think about like the baby registry in its immediate sort of phase, like, you know, helping people prepare to become parents, do you guys have recommendations on ways that people can use their registry for purposes and moments just beyond the newborn baby? Like, how do people use their registry even after their baby has been born, and should they?
Yeah. So yeah, because you know what, especially for me, I was when I had my first, I was the first in my friend group to have a baby, right? So they didn't know what to do, right? And they just had no idea, and they want to keep supporting you. So I would say keep your registry updated, right? And as you discover things that you need that you didn't think of before, keep adding it. And not that you want to keep sending it to them, which is why we created Avili. So it's like, it's gamified. It's not like, oh, here's my list of things that I need, but it's just something that exists and it's just part of, you know, your conversations. Yeah, I would say keep using it and keep sharing it, especially as the baby hits milestones. So use that baptism or christening or any of these little things that are family rituals, use those as a moment to also like say, hey, like this is, you know, we've updated the list if you're interested in getting anything. And you have to remember, I know sometimes it feels like, okay, maybe I'm asking for too much, and we generally don't like asking for help, but when I tell you they're actually wondering how they can help you, like they're just like, I don't know, I keep asking her if she needs anything. She's like, I don't need anything, but they want to help. So really, really utilizing it for those milestones, especially if your culture, family, or have any other of these like rituals that happen when the baby arrives, use that as another way to make use of your registry.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And sometimes people will come visit and meet the baby 3-6 months later. And so to your point, if they're like, what can we bring? Yes, it's so uncomfortable to be like, oh, here's a list, but this is the list that can truly support someone best. And maybe that list has a whole bunch of new Uber Eats gift cards. Great. I could use your help with anything on this registry. Oh, and specifically, we're going through a transition, a sleep regression, whatever it is, and we could really use help with meals. And there's some Uber Eats gift cards on my registry. And there's a really kind, thoughtful way to tell people that that are looking to support you. And I don't think we should feel weird about giving people tangible ways to help us. If they don't like cooking, great. Well, then here's an Uber Eats gift card, and this could be really helpful for me and my family. So great point, Kim. Thank you for sharing. Emily, anything else to add?
Pretty much no, but I think like if we just think of it as not just a baby registry, you guys have said this several times, but just sort of like as a support system, I feel like it might be helps to reframe. It's just like a list of things you want. It's like, no, this is the place you go to help support this growing family for yourself, for other folks, for people in your family, for siblings, for your partner. So maybe if we can, I don't know, it's still called a baby registry, but if we reframe it in our mind to be more of just like a support, a source of support, you know, during the moment of the baby shower and beyond, maybe that's like a nice reframing.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so the next webinar will be thousands of people that join, and just we all come up with different names for baby registry.
Amazing.
Okay, sounds good. Next topic covered. Okay, what's up next, you guys? What's next?
So I have one.
Yes.
Populous is all about simplifying purchases and making this arduous task of creating a baby registry, what we're calling it right now. What are some ways that simple ways that they could think about creating a registry, right? Because it could be so daunting. There's a million and one lists. Everyone says you need a bottle warmer. Do you actually need a bottle warmer? Like, what are some ways to think, what things to think about while you're creating a registry?
Yeah, so that's a great point. So just for the people that are on that have built a Populous registry or are considering working with in the future, we will be building out really streamlined templates that really help you stay focused. And if you add 10 onesies, you're going to get some type of red flag that says, hey, Melissa, you've got too many of this and not enough of this. So we will be adding in features to really help people understand, okay, I'm over the threshold of things I truly need, or things I have too many items of stuff I don't need and not enough of things that like I truly do. So those features are coming, but in the interim, there's like 5 questions, and I posted this on social that I really like and try to encourage people to consider when building their registry. So the 5 sort of like hypothetical questions I like to ask people are: 1, do I need this now, in 6 months, or a year? And so one of the things that we love about Populist is you decide what gifts you want to be delivered. We had a new mom in San Francisco whose baby was born about 4.5 months ago. Someone bought her the high chair on her registry, but yesterday she just redeemed it. So you decide what gifts you want to deliver and when. So you don't need to have everything show up at your house at once, because that can be a little overwhelming. So just think through, do I need this now, 6 months, or in a year from now? Question number 2, when I'm not using it, where will I store it? And I think that that's really important. When you're not using a jogging stroller, your high chair, these really big bulky items, a wagon, whatever it may be, ask yourself where you're gonna store it. And if you don't have the storage, then I think the follow-up question is, okay, well then do I truly need this? Because you don't want your house just flooded with stuff that you're not using. So really think through, where will you store it when you're not using it? Number 3, can I borrow this from someone instead? And I love this question because it's probably going to be yes. So my friend that lives in Austin, her name is Jenny. We have now used the same newborn car seat for all 4 of our kids, and the expiration date is coming up like next year. But think through those types of products. And yes, of course, I'm a registry, and part of our business is you adding products for people to buy, but we're not in the game of telling you to get all of this stuff. Like, that's not what we're trying to achieve. We're just really helping you try to think through like this minimalist approach to preparing for your baby. So can you borrow an item instead? And if the answer is yes, and you have that trusted friend and it's a newborn car seat or whatever, great. And if not, that's okay. But ask yourself that question.
We have a snoo in my family and group of friends, a smart sleeper snoo that has, I think it's served 7 babies. Like there's gone to different cities, people return it, we just share it. It's like, who's got to spend another $1,500 on another
no
one?
Needs to. Not when you have one snoo and your friends.
Totally.
And then it just works out by the timing of everyone having kids. So perfect. Exactly. Number 4. Okay, let me see. When I'm not using it, care about some southern. Okay, similar vein, can I buy this secondhand? There are some products you probably wouldn't want to buy secondhand just because of safety regulations. But a stroller, what a great option to buy secondhand. So think through that. If this is the product that you can buy secondhand, consider doing that from a resource like we shared previously, Good Buy Gear or Rebel Store. And lastly, this is kind of my favorite one. How can I reuse this when my baby no longer needs it? So one of the things I love about Populist is we try to help people understand like product longevity. So like, could you store your breast milk in 4-ounce mason jars that you can use later? Or, you know, if you're buying a crib, can you buy like an 8-in-1 crib so that it serves a much longer purpose than one teeny tiny stage? So how can I reuse this item when my baby no longer needs it? You know, reusable breast milk pads. They actually make for great makeup removers when you don't need them. So, but seriously, like, we can be creative in how we reuse things. So those are the 5 things, and we'll send those out in the post-webinar notes, but those are the 5 things I like to share with people as they think through building their registry. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this may sort of double down on that because maybe, you know, this helps to answer some of that, but what is one thing each of you wish you did differently when, I would say, either preparing for babies or building your baby registry? Like, what's one thing you would change the next time?
So for my second one, I almost didn't do a registry. Don't do that. Because I just was like, well, they assumed I have everything from the first one. And I think I also assumed I had everything for the first one, other than the fact that they're different genders. So like, But like for everything else, I figured like, hey, you know, like I have it for the first one, but no, oh no, no, no. Please, please, please do a second registry, and also do a registry sooner rather than later, or at least start it, right? Give yourself time. I'm that last minute person where it's like 1 week before my baby shower and I'm like trying to throw things onto a registry. Take your time with it, really research what you need, think about Sarah's 5 list of questions. So start earlier. For the gender reveal game, at one point we had a feature where folks could actually put in their registry so that once they play the game, they also have the option to buy stuff from the registry. And folks, a lot of parents had registries in that like second trimester, early second trimester. And I thought that's genius. So I really want more of us to do that. Give folks more time to buy things off the registry, right? Maybe not just one. Maybe they'll, you know, give them time to really buy multiple things off that registry. So those would be the things that I did that I would change if I had to go back for my second.
I think the thing I would change with my first registry, I did not have any insight into what like the postpartum phase was going to be. I was the first of my friends and sisters to have a baby. Despite having a mother who I'm extremely close with and a mother-in-law, no one told me about what to expect or things that I would need. And granted, that was 30 something years ago, but like our physical bodies postpartum, like not much has changed. So I was so ill prepared when I came home with Amelia on like things that I would need. Like I had to send my husband to go, you know, buy pads and all these things that like I just did not have. And you're so vulnerable and emotional. And so even asking someone like your most intimate support partner to go buy these things, I still was not prepared to feel like shame in a weird, strange way, even though he just watched us birth our daughter. Watched me, sorry, I'm taking full credit. He watched me birth our daughter. So don't feel shame adding those products because you're going to need to go get them anyway. And you are going to have friends who want to nurture and support you in that period of time, and let them do that. Let them go bundle up all of those postpartum products and bring them to you. So I did not have any of those things on my first registry with Amelia. And so I was so much more prepared my second time, you know. But even just like tips, like no one said, hey, don't put the things you need behind you when you're changing X, Y, and Z postpartum. Put things in front of you so they're easy to access. Like I couldn't reach, there was one moment where I was out of toilet paper and I couldn't reach where it was behind me. And I was so emotional. I remember just like bawling on the toilet because it's something so simple, like such a simple task that like anyone should feel like they can do, but I could not, like my body hurt. I just couldn't get to it. So just really think through those scenarios. Like how can the items you need be purchased and where can you put them so they're super easy for you to access, whether you're next to the bathtub, on the toilet, like whatever. So just really, really emphasizing that period of recovery for you and your family and making sure you're prepared. I wish I would have thought through that the first time, but I just literally did not know. I didn't know.
I have one more. I just remembered because it just gave me PTSD. The one thing that I didn't realize was so expensive that I needed so much of are, if you plan on breastfeeding or pumping, are those milk storage bags.
Oh my God.
Though I remember being in Target and just looking at the prices of those and just like being, I just, hundreds, right? The baby went through hundreds in a month and they're like $20 a pop, and it was just really, really expensive. So for the first one, I definitely did not put enough feeding things on there. So definitely add lots of those to the registry.
Yeah.
Unless your insurance covers.
We could have an entire topic on this, which we should. Like, are you going back to work in a physical space? You need to think through, okay, do you have a proper cooler? We should talk about the new law that just passed. It is a mandate now that your employer has to give you a private space, not in a bathroom, to pump. Do you have everything you need? And what are those things? So
Bras.
Yeah. Listen, if you're on the line and you are going back to work in a physical space and you're like, oh shoot, I haven't thought through that scenario and what I need, email us, any of us, send us a note on Instagram. We will help get you set up with everything that you need. So yeah, just life situations for the future, register for those. Put them on your Poppy List registry. Okay, we are at 11 o'clock. We have 15 minutes left.
12 o'clock for Eastern
Sorry.
folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
So-
no, this is perfect. Do you
Yeah,
want to wrap up the section? We can go into questions.
Yeah, so before we go into Q&A, let's see, everyone took the poll at the beginning. If you haven't yet, send us your registry URL in the chat, because thank you, Kim and her company are going to select a winner and they are going to buy you something off your registry. We will inform you ASAP of who that is. And then just a quick few PSAs. Follow us on Instagram at PoppyList and at Billy. And we are here to support your parenthood journey. And together, between like PoppyList and Billy, I just feel like we make up a really great team in getting you guys the support that you need, and whatever that looks like for your growing family. So follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, send us an email. We are here to support you. We always respond, and yeah, let's stay in touch and register for another one. All right. So what questions can we answer?
All right, we have a bunch of questions, which please just keep them coming. And I love that they're specific. These are great questions. So one is there anything you've registered for that you actually ended up not using? Like what just sort of like gathered dust?
I had so much of that from my first one. Bottle cleaner things, the things you put your bottles in.
Sterilizer? Oh, the sterilizer.
Listen, y'all. First of all, it depends on what kind of bottles you get. They don't really fit in there. And then that thing actually gets moldy. So it's like one more thing to clean. That gathered so much dust. I ended up just taking my bottles, putting them in a pot, putting water and some dish soap, letting it boil. Right?
You called it bottle soup.
Yeah, and then just use it with yes. Right. And then it was easy for my husband to comprehend, right? Because he couldn't figure out how to put the bottles in the section. So that definitely collected a lot of dust. And it's one of these things you can also re-gift, right? Because it's like a sanitary thing. So that was one of the things I would discourage adding to your registry. Is just one of those things. There's a million and one ways to sanitize these bottles. You do not need a special
warm up a bottle. Like there are these and warm up a bottle. Like we just ended up with my daughter boiling water and like putting it in like in a kettle, like, and just
we just put the water in the microwave and then added the formula. So we would microwave. Yes, you got to do what you need to do to keep everyone safe and like whatever, but you can microwave water and for like 15 seconds, just nuke it. You don't need to get it like hot. So, okay. So your bottle sterilizer collected dust, your bottle warmer collected dust.
And wipe warmer. Like
your wipe warmer collected dust.
They're good. They're fine. The wipes are like room temperature. They're good.
Honestly, my husband says that the shock of like the cold wipes is what keeps them sharp. It's just like, it keeps them strong. And
keeps them going. What's yours, Sarah?
I registered for a few like 3-in-1 nursing covers that collected a lot of dust, like the ones that you could put over your car seat and over yourself if you're nursing. And I just found it just too much, like putting this over myself, unbuttoning my shirt, unlatching my bra, like it just, and I live in Austin, Texas, and those things, when you put them over your car seat, just trap a lot of heat, and I just didn't like them. If I needed like to cover the sun or something, I just do like a really lightweight linen blanket like over the stroller. So the 3-in-1 nursing covers for me collect a lot of dust. I had a wrap that collected a lot of dust. I just found them really cumbersome to use and like to quickly get my baby in if she was fussy. So the wrap, the 3-in-1 nursing cover collected a lot of dust. I'm trying to think what else.
We bought a lot of like
that we never ever used. I regifted it. So same. So yeah, just I think those mainly.
We bought like several places to put the baby. Like we were like, we need a Dockatot and we need a chair and we need a rocker and we need like a swing. it's like you probably don't need like so many contraptions. Like you could just have like one maybe, or
Yeah.
like see what your baby like takes to. And then if you need another thing, you could go to like Facebook Marketplace, and those things are being sold all the time
Yeah.
for secondhand. Which actually leads us to our next question. We can transition. What are some items that maybe you should avoid buying secondhand? Like, are there ones where we're like, meh, maybe not, like pacifiers, like, not
Yeah,
sure.
I would say anything. I wouldn't buy a bottle secondhand. I wouldn't buy anything that they're like using in their mouth that might, you just want those things to be new just for sanitary reasons. If you don't know the person, I would not buy a car seat secondhand, because if it has been in a car accident, they technically, legally should not be used anymore. And you can't verify that type of information. One of the things that I would do is definitely go on to the CPSC website, and you can sign up for newsletters in the baby and kid space and get notified anytime an item has been recalled. So any item that's ever been recalled, I would never buy secondhand and or use. So a stroller, I mean, not a stroller, sorry, a car seat, bottles, pacifiers, any of the sterilizing things I wouldn't buy secondhand. Yeah, I think a crib, unless you know the person, could be risky to buy secondhand. Again, you don't know if it was assembled properly. I think there's just like risk in some of those things that you just really have to consider. Obviously, it's different if you know the person, but if you are in a physical space, like a secondhand shop, and you see some of those products, I would just think through, okay, if this wasn't assembled correctly, was this in a car accident? Just think through sort of like those scenarios, and then you're just gonna have to make the best decision for yourself.
Yeah, I think the one that comes up for me is like breast pumps and things. I
Yeah.
think those aren't necessarily not horrible to have secondhand, but there are some parts of it where you would have to replace, right? So just
Replace
be
the parts,
mindful.
definitely.
Yeah, replace all the parts that are replaceable, but the actual physical like motor, which is what you're actually really paying for, right? Like
Yes.
that you could definitely get secondhand, and then just go on Amazon or wherever, and just get new, like the wires and
The
the bottles
tubes,
and the
everything.
flanges, yeah. So that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, great suggestion.
Okay, awesome. So a couple questions about Poppy List and the gender reveal. So like, let's start with Poppy List. What are sort of the key, like everyone's heard of some other registries, Amazon, maybe Baby List, like what makes Poppy List special? We've said some of the stuff, but Sarah, maybe you can give us a little rundown real quick.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So a few really important things that make us different. One, we allow parents to decide what gifts they want delivered and when, and we call this delayed delivery. So when your aunt or grandmother or mother-in-law buys an item off your baby registry, they cannot send it to themselves. So what they're technically doing is just securing it for you and your family. And when you're ready to receive it, you go back into your registry, there's a button that says gift me, and as soon as you're ready to hit that button, then our team gets a notification and we process fulfillment. So you live in a high rise in New York City and don't want to store your high chair for 6 months, great, we leave those decisions up to you. But right before you go to fulfill your gift, you're also prompted with a question that says, are you sure you still want this? And it's really important for us to make sure our families have considered thoroughly, you know what, yes, I do, I know I want this, or you know what, I've thought about this a little bit longer. Maybe I thought I wanted it 3 months ago and I've changed my mind. Great. You can change your mind. We're not going to tell your aunt that you're going to exchange her gift for an Amazon, Target, or Visa gift card instead. So that secret is safe with us. So we're the only baby registry that allows you to exchange any gift before it's shipped. We had a family who had a NICU baby and most of their items were purchased and their circumstance had completely changed. And so I think one of the most amazing things that we've created at Poppy List is we do not know and cannot predict any family's circumstance or situation. And so how can we continue to develop a product that gives control completely to the mom and dad? And that's what we're trying to do. So where can we build features and et cetera that offer flexibility? That's what we're trying to do. So delayed delivery, you can exchange a gift before it's shipped. Yeah, we have a product catalog that every product that's in there has been sourced from a mom or dad. So we vigorously vet every product that goes in there. Brands can't pay to play. So if there was a comment that said, hey, Sarah, here's $1,000 for you to recommend your product. Sorry, that's not how we're making money. Unless they can put me in touch with a customer that I can meet with one-on-one and have a thorough conversation and decide, yes, you know what, okay, this does make sense to recommend to our families. Unless we can verify it, we will not recommend it to a parent. So those are some of the really big key differentiators that Populous offers that no other registry does.
And there's another question, is Populous, is there a charge to use Populous? Like, how does that?
No, it's completely free for the registrant. There is no charge or any type of burden on the mom or dad building their baby registry. It's completely free to use. It's completely free for you to select a gift card instead of the gift. There is never an expense that the mom or dad will incur.
Awesome. Okay, cool. We have another couple minutes. So if you have other questions, or before we go on to the next question, if you have suggestions or ideas for future webinars that you'd like to listen to, please add it so that we can source experts to give you topics that would help. Because we want to really just be of service to parents. Okay, so Kim, this one's for you. Gender reveal game, how did this happen? Like what? Tell us more. Oh, Kim, I think you might be muted.
Yes, I'm gonna be quick because I'm mindful of time. But essentially, for my first child, my husband's family hadn't had a baby girl born in 20 years. So for my gender reveal, we ended up my mother-in-law was so adamant that it was a boy. We're West African. She said it came to her in a dream that it's a boy. And I said, okay, well, if that's the case, like, are you willing to put money on it? She said yes. And then that's what we ended up doing for my gender reveal. We had people Cash App me, PayPal me $20 with their guess, and we raised $1,000 like really quickly. So I was like, well, if this wasn't an app, like more people could like do this as just one more way to like raise money early on, right? You don't have to wait till 8 months when your feet hurt to be getting gifts and the support that you need. So the gender reveal game, it's just a fun way. It's free for the parents. We charge a small transaction fee just to keep the website alive to people who are actually voting, so your loved ones. Yeah, and it's super cute, and we're almost at $1 million that parents have raised with the gender reveal game to date. So that is really cool. And then that spiraled into villages, because one thing I noticed is that people keep saying it takes a village, and like everyone on this call has heard that 1,001 times, but the village wants to help and we don't ask for help. So how can we fix that? How can we keep the village in the know? And how can we ask for help without really asking for help? And so that's why we created villages, right? So you just keep updates and you just do what you do and just let people know what's happening. And then we will make sure that we're actively keeping them engaged and giving them and prompting them to give. So, hey, she just updated her Poppy list. You should go check it out, right? We will send that message to your loved ones so that they can check it out and give you more of what you need. And it's another place if you don't want to put your baby information publicly, right? Like you control who goes there. So if you don't want to put all your baby's photos or info on Facebook or anything like that, it's a private village space for your family.
Amazing. Okay, we're gonna quickly run through the last question, which is products that you could add for your partner, specifically for dads. Is there anything you recommend? Is this just like a mom and baby thing, or is there anything we can add for our partners?
No, I think it's a team effort, and this isn't something you should be doing by yourself or in silo. And I think you just ask your partner, hey, what roles do you want to assume? Which of course, like they're going to be assuming this partner is the dad. They have a huge role to fill and assume. But like, what are things that they like to do? Do they like to go hiking on the weekend? Okay, great. Then maybe you guys should research a hiking backpack so that the dad can do that and give the mom some free time. Find a gender neutral backpack together, because he's going to be carrying it and he should be. So a backpack, a carrier, a hiking backpack, there's so many things. clothes. I don't know, just there's a lot of things that you guys can do together. And I wish my co-founder Tim was on this call because I know how involved he was with his wife and their first baby registry. And my husband was too. So, you know, we added some stuff from like REI to our baby registry just because there's things that my husband loves to do that I know he would love to do with his daughter. And now he does that. So I don't know, just think about things that your partner enjoys doing and what kind of products can you register for that enable them to do those together.
I remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, my husband's like into like gadgets and tech and stuff. And I was like, whatever. But he like replaced all our thermostats with like the Google Net, like Google Home ones because he could just quickly change it.
The baby monitor, make them research those. They like really.
Right. Like, I'm like, you figure out that, like, sure,
yeah.
Go for it. All right, Kim, anything else to add for that one?
No, ditto. Like I would just be intentional to just ask them too. You know, like I think sometimes we get so into our research and like we do it all, but just be like, hey, I'm doing the registry. Do you want to come take a look? Do you agree with any of these? Is there anything you don't like? Like just really be intentional in including them. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at what they want to add or won't add.
I wanted the baby Brezza formula dispenser and Scott was like, that is so excessive and not necessary and X, Y, and Z. And looking back, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm glad we didn't have an extra thing on our kitchen counter.
I was obsessed with
it. So definitely
okay, so we're at time.
Yeah.
We're at 12:15. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And it's been great to have your questions come in. Sarah, maybe share sort of like how people can continue to get in touch after this.
So like I said earlier, follow us on social media, send us an email. We will have a recording of this session. So if you found it useful and know a friend or family member that could really benefit from bits and pieces of this, you will have access to it. We will send a follow-up email today just with like some post-webinar notes and some links and resources that we talked about on this call. And again, if you have a registry URL, make sure you get it to us. You can send it to us on Instagram or in the next 30 seconds in the chat. And Kim's company will buy something for you off your registry. And thank you guys for giving us 45 minutes of your time. And hopefully we'll see you at another one.
Thanks, everybody.
Cool. Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Yeah.